Is thy faithfulness, oh God, my Father? There is no shadow turning with thee. Amina, Amina, hallelujah, Amina, Amina, hallelujah, Amina, Amina, hallelujah, Amina.
We are all enjoying our breakfast. Please remember, this is not a day for dieting, so whenever you feel like, feel free to move out and enjoy it. Uganda is gifted by nature, so these are all organic foods prepared here. Let's enjoy them. God has blessed us with these. The food has been blessed, so why don't we enjoy the blessing? Amidst us, of course, like to recognize some distinguished guests who have joined us. We have Professor Ephraim Kamuntu. I'm glad he was one time heading the sector where I work currently. And I think during his tenure, water really moved all around the country. So he played a very key role. And with us, we have one of the distinguished servants of this country, Mr. Jotham Tumwesije, who when I was growing up was the IGG, and I used to admire him, the way he used to be very articulate. So he's been a role model, and these are people we need to treasure. We have our, I don't know, the CV is too long, a lawmaker, attorney general, a friend, a parent, a guardian, Mr. Fred Ruhindi. When I was still a new young man in management, I remember he used to call me and taught me how to ensure that you always work with the people. To succeed, you must always work with the people. And that is one thing he really inculcated into me. We shall be introducing more people as we go by and as we enjoy the breakfast. I would like us to proceed with the program. And at this point in time, I'd like to call on my MC to proceed to the next session, and we ensure that we work within the allotted time.
Thank you so much, Del. I hope you all are thankful that you didn't bother preparing breakfast this morning at home, because you're having a hearty breakfast. I'd like to just recognize the embassy, the United States Embassy. They have called to apologize. They cannot make it, but they're here with us. I'd like to welcome the Tanzanian Embassy, who are already here with us. Thank you for standing with us today. And I'd like to introduce the person who is going to give us our opening remarks. This gentleman is a businessman, and he is in hotel management. As well, he has hardware stores in Mbarara and soon in other places in Uganda. He is the board chair for the Millenium Sacco 2012, and he's going to give us opening remarks. I'd like to invite Mr. John Frederick Tumwine to give us the opening remarks for today.
Thank you, Bwana MC. I'm Tumwine Fred, as they introduced me. I can see our bishop is not around. I don't know where she has gone. She has gone. However, I can start because of time. We are expecting the Vice President, so I have to address to her. The guest of honor, Professor Ezra Silma, our Bishop, Right Reverend Dr. Fred Sheldon Mwesigwa, Mama Alice, the speakers, Maggie Chigozi and Joe Adams, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and praise God. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you and thank you for sparing your precious time to come for this prayer breakfast meeting We are really grateful. Allow me at this time to introduce a few people. The Vice President is coming. Of course, all of you know her. And she's here because she's a member of this Sacco. She has shares already. I also want to introduce our Bishop, Sheldon, and Mom RC. You can stand up for recognition. Thank you for coming. I also want to introduce our board members who have managed to come. We are only two. Madame Medrin, she's there. She's our secretary. And I. I have to introduce our special guests. Our special guests are our speakers, our guest speakers, Professor Ezra Silma is there. I don't want to make a mistake to say that is your wife, but somebody you are seated with you will introduce. Okay, thank you. That is the wife. Thank you for coming with the wife. I also want to introduce Joe Adams and your wife, all the way from USA, to come and be with us. Thank you so much. We are not sure whether Asim is coming, and Professor Maggie Chigozi, we are not yet sure, but we are expecting them. I also want to introduce our staff, General Manager, come forward. This is our General Manager for the Sacco, and the other staff are seated doing the banking services behind there. I also want to introduce the Big Five tour and travel team who have organized this function. Where are you, Milton? The Big Five group. This is one of them. They have done a great work. I want to give you a brief history of Millenium Sacco. Millenium Sacco started in December 2012 under the names of Ankole Diocese Millenium Sacco. This was a brainchild of our Bishop, Right Reverend Dr. Fred Cheryl Mesgwa, and his wife, Mama RC. It started small, with the first shares coming from the diocese and its staff. Since that time, it has been growing from strength to strength. So far, we have 16,659 members, 7 branches distributed across Greater Mbarara region, with over 60 members of staff currently employed. We have our mission. Our mission is empowering communities with customized quality products and services. Our vision is a large, successful, and well-financial institution whose members' livelihoods are improved. Our motto is unity for development. The objective of this Sacco is to improve people's livelihood by getting affordable loans at competitive rates and have a good saving culture in our society. Most of our communities in the villages don't know how to save. So that's one of the reasons as to why we moved to those communities. Our interest rate on loans is 2% per month, and fixed deposits are at 12% per annum. Our turnaround time for loan processing is 1 week maximum. The difference between our Sacco and most banks is the time of processing the loans. For us, maximum is 1 week. General Manager, are you here? Can you come and present this performance analysis? Let my manager come and help me on the performance analysis and that table and that graph.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ronald Abaho, and I've been introduced earlier. As you can see on the projector, we have been progressively growing well. If you can see our savings, we started in 2012. However, this was just a caption of the last 5 years' performance. If you see in 2012, in 2017, our deposits were a bit low. We were below 2 billion. We had 1.8 billion. As the graph shows still, in 2018, there was a growth percentage over 2.6. And it is also evident that in 2018, we grew from 1.8. To summarize it, in 2021, we grew to 6.3 billion. You can ask me the magic, but for us, when COVID came in, we had to get savings. When people are running away from commercial banks, they were saving now in the villages. People are repatriating money from Kampala to Mbara. That's how we got savings. For the loan portfolio, it also grew from 1.4 billion in 2017 to 11 billion. This is also attributed by the COVID. So for us, everything, the magic, we got it in COVID period. We had redundant money, so people were borrowing. Our share capital also grew from 707 million to 4.15 billion. The growth of this share is that when you're getting a loan from Millenium Sacco, it's attached to a share threshold. So when people were busy borrowing, we are also busy collecting the share capital. For the membership growth, we at the year 2017, we're at 6,000. And as you can see, in 2021, we rose up to 16,659. So this membership growth also is attributed to our Lord Bishop, who is the chief marketeer of this Sacco and vision bearer, much as he's a founder and patron. Our gross surplus, I think we are lucky that in 2017, we made a profit of 48 million, that was gross profit. And in 2021, we have done 2 billion. So I want to thank the members who are our shareholders and those who enjoy our products, that's taking loans and also buying shares so that they can give us the capacity to lend out more money. So this is where we are now. And what is not here, we have an asset base of 12 billion. So we have been progressively working well. So I want to thank the members that are here. I will not mention names, and also thank the chairman for the work they are doing. I think I will let the chairman continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronald. With this positive growth trend shown above by the general manager, I assure you that the Sacco is a profitable venture. Irrespective of the COVID-19, in the last 2 years, we continued to register significant gross profit, as shown above. Now that the economy has been fully opened, we are beginning from where we had stopped in anticipation to taking this Sacco to greater heights. The main objective of this Sacco is to grow into an indigenous commercial bank. To achieve the above objective, the following has been done. 1, we changed the name from Ankole Diocese Millenium Sacco to Millenium Sacco 2012. This name was biased and non-inclusive and very wrong, calling it Ankole Diocese Millenium Sacco. We are targeting that when it becomes a bank, we only say Millenium Bank. You have already got the name for our bank. Secondly, we have recruited trained and experienced members of staff to run our daily banking operations. Thirdly, we adhere to government regulations and guidelines. We are also having mass mobilization of new members, especially those with experience and financial capacity to boost our Saco business. On this note, members, this is one of the biggest reasons we are here. We are looking at you as people with experience. We are looking at you as people with capacity who can take this Saco from where it is to another level. So the key word is here now for you. Then another thing, we have acquired the management information system to run the Saco operations effectively and efficiently. This Saco is based in Mbarara. But I assure you, when you bank from here, the money will be received in Mbarara. We also have mobile banking on our telephones, mobile on MTN, and is it Warit? Airtel. Millenium Sacco 2012 is one of the fastest growing Saccos in the country. The reason we are here is to mobilize you to join so that we can fulfill the above objective, and this can not happen without great men of stature like you present today. Therefore, we request you to buy our shares. Members, we had invited about 250 members. And we are anticipating that each of you minimally can buy shares of 10 million. So when you multiply 10 million into 250 members invited here, we can get 2.5 billion. And This mobilization is not going to stop here. This is a high-class mobilization. We are going to put it in layers. The first layer is the high class. The second layer is the middle one. Next time we shall find us in Hotel Africana also meeting another group. Another time we shall go downtown and mobilize more, probably smaller members. So we are inviting you to buy our shares. And after buying our shares, we also want you to save with us. Members, we are also inviting you to take part in key leadership position of this institution. We don't want you to buy shares and even save with us, and you know that bank is for Bishop Sheldon, or it is for Tumine Fred. No, we are saying afterwards we want you to participate. Joe Adams will be in America, but we want him to participate. Because being a member, we need participation. You have experience, you have capacity. I know if you are taking it in a bank, we want really people with experience. We are also looking for partnership in capital investment. I know some of you have some money which is redundant. I might not need to mention names, but I can see here. Just put it, invest in Millenium Sacco, because for us we shall be giving you an interest. If you fix with us, we shall be giving you 12% per annum, instead of keeping it under your beds and the rats eat your money. We are also looking at people who can give us grants. We are also looking at some of you who can make us access low-cost funds. Because when you are giving loans at 2%, it is still high. It is still high to our members, but it is because we are getting expensive money from commercial banks. So if you can give us cheaper money, our people, our target people in the local community, we can give them at 1%, we can give them at 1.5%, and I think our target will be fulfilled by giving out cheaper funds. But that is only possible if we also get low-cost funds. We're also looking at capacity building of our staff and our board members. Some of us have not been in banks, but now I'm a chairman. I need better training. Our board members need training. We need to get experience. Our staff need training. We cannot keep local. We want to be local bank, but with serious staff and serious board members. But anyway, we are going to hand over this bank to you because we are saying we want you to take part in this circle. Before I end, I would like to thank the government of Uganda, headed by President Yoweri Museveni, who has provided peace and protection to run our institutions uninterrupted. Members present, I think we are grateful to this government. First of all, there are some taxes they waived from the Saccos. So that one we thank the government. And secondly, nobody is stopping us to run our Sacco. Even at night, even in the day, we can move with funds, we can move, and our branches are sparsely distributed across the Ankole region. They introduced me as a businessman. In the 80s and 90s, it was very difficult to move with money from Mbarara to Kampala. They would steal our money, they would shoot us, buses would be waylaid. But that one stopped. That's the reason we are thanking this government. Finally, I thank our bishop who has mobilized almost all of you. The guest speakers who are going to do a great work. All of you who have attended this function, we thank you so much because we know how precious your time is. I also thank the organizers of this event, the Big Five Tour and Travel Group, for the work well done. Thank you for listening to me, Unity for Development. I remain Tumine John Frederick, the chairperson.
Thank you, our board chairman. And I think we need to give him another round of applause for, it's not easy. You know, organizing people for a common goal or for a common cause is not a simple task. So I'd like to thank you. And we all know, ladies and gentlemen, that in order to succeed, you need to have a conducive environment. And probably shall always all re-echo that the enabling environment that we have in our country today has actually led to the birth of such initiatives. And remember, our destiny is in our own hands, that whatever we want to do, unless we start somewhere, whoever comes in will give you a push. But if you're starting from zero, you make it very difficult to be helped. So we are here to help ourselves. This is an opportunity, and we can see that we are actually sitting on a time bomb of success. I know people always used to talking about the time bomb of disaster. For us here, we are seated on a ticking time bomb of success. So it can only be we and we alone to be responsible either for our success or our failure. And we shall need to be accountable either for the good outcomes of the success or the repercussions of failure. So the destiny is in our hands. So the Millenium Sacco has already given an opportunity to all of us. We're expecting our Vice President to be here any moment, and I'll request that when she arrives, shall all arise and welcome her, and protocol will follow with the rest of the proceedings. For now, I'll ask the DJ to give us an interlude of some good music, but in the meantime, I'm very sure we don't know clearly who our neighbor is. Have you greeted your neighbor? Have you asked them if they have subscribed? Are they members? Are they intending to be members? So it is very, very important. For me, I wish I had many hands, many ears. I could be speaking, I think, to a multitude of people because I see opportunities for myself. So please say hello to your neighbor. Wish them a happy new year as we wait for the proceedings. wait for our Vice President. MCs were gifted with talking quite a lot when we are fed with information, but it's imperative and very important that the people who are very well versed with the subject matter give us a little of an in-depth information. So the General Manager of Millenium Sacco will give us a little in-depth of the operations of the Sacco. Thank you.
Thank you, MC. Good morning once again. I want to give you a brief of this Sacco so that you know why we are here and where we are going. This Sacco started in 2012 and it was an initiative by our Bishop, the Right Reverend Dr. Sheldon Fred Mesgwa. It was his vision and he started it with the people at the diocese. When it started, it had over 150 members. The first shares were bought by the diocese. So from there, members started buying shares. It started like people would say, where is it going? Where is it heading? But the vision bearer kept on praying, kept on marketing, kept on pressing on so that this Sacco could be where it is right now. As I had shared with you, our portfolio of loans is at 11.01 billion as at 31st of December 2021. Our share capital is now at 4.1. Our savings at 6.06 billion. Our membership is at 16,000 as per 31st December 2021. So you see, there is growth. There is also a way people have embraced this way of banking. As you know, cooperatives, they are always taken down by people not believing in themselves. And this has led to most of the cooperatives die at their infantry level. I want to thank the leadership of our Lord Bishop and the Chairman Board for making this Sacco live and breathe up to Sheraton today. I know the majority of the people, they were saying this can't happen. This can't happen. And our Bishop is one of the good dreamers. He will dream at night, he will dream during the day, and his dream will come to pass. I thank you very much, our Lord Bishop. Members here, I would request that, yes, we've come, but we want you people to join us. I've seen the MD of UBC is one of our top shareholders. Thank you very much. And there are a few that I'm seeing that have been around. There is Honorable Rechambu, the woman MP for Mbara District. Those are the members that we have. And I'm also seeing one of the directors of Wamuko Motor Spares. Those are the guys that are pushing the Sacco. So I request that whoever is here, and we have our table here, we want to buy as many shares as we can. And I'm glad that we have Professor Ezra Suma, who is one of the great brains behind our economy. I know today we shall go when everything is okay. So I request that before we leave, we buy shares, we can pay directly on our accounts. We can also pay online. Millenium Sacco is not only a local institution, but we also have mobile platform that you can do your transactions on. So feel free, you can walk on our table, or we can still come at your side and we get your details as we buy shares. And we request that it should not stop here. We should take it on another level so that we can have this Sacco grow into an indigenous bank. I will tell you more as time comes, but for now, let's feel free to have our staff register you. You can buy as many shares as you can. A share is 10,000. Who knows? You can buy 10,000 shares from here. Melvin, you promised me. Today I have you. You can fill that form. I'm waiting for your shares. Otherwise, have a good morning and let's enjoy the day. Thank you.
Thank you, General Manager. I think he's hinted on it all. And I'd like to re-echo and say whatever I said initially, the ball is in our court. Okay? The ball is in our court. We are so blessed that we have quite a number of people here who've made this happen. And we have legislators, the laws, the policies that are helping us and governing us to empower ourselves economically. Have we taken advantage of them? Probably not. This could be one of them. Can we take advantage of this? Because stop thinking that you can't make it. We can all make it. They say that pain is a sign that the weakness is leaving the body. So therefore, let our mental weakness be driven out by us working. And we need to work hard and support each other. Anyone who comes from out to give us any given support, like the board chair was making his remarks that they need to have the facilities, they need to have low-cost access to funds. We need to do that if we show that we have the zeal and the commitment. We are very ambitious. The question is, how committed are we? Let's remember that an ambition with no commitment is an illusion, and I don't think we're illusionist people. I don't think we're illusionist people. So let's get hitting the ground. Those who want to buy the shares, or those who have to buy the shares, I don't know whether I should say that. I should be saying, all of us, as we're going to buy shares, let us approach the desk right at the back. There are beautiful ladies there. You can see ladies are making things move. A few days ago, it was Women's Day, and there's every reason why we celebrate ladies. Kofi Annan said that when we have women leaders, we have guaranteed success because they are more reliable. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's take heed and ensure that we make the best of these opportunities, and then the future is going to be how we have done, how we have left this country, because whatever we do, we're making a contribution, not just to ourselves, but to the country. So DJ, kindly give us an interlude as we move to the next session. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been reliably informed that our Vice President, Her Excellency, is within the vicinity. So I request us to be on standby when she comes in, and we'll arise and welcome her. and then we'll proceed with the rest of the protocol. Ladies and gentlemen, let's arise and welcome Her Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, retired Major Jessica Alupo. You're very welcome, Your Excellency. I request that we all remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and the East African anthem, respectively.
Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tulilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Uzalendo pia mshikamano iwe msingi wa umoja wetu, na tulinde uhuru na amani, mila zetu na desturi zetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tulilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Viwandani na hata mashambani, tufanye kazi sote kwa makini, tujitoe kwa hali na mali, tujenge jumuiya bora. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Thank you. We can take our seats. Your Excellency, our Vice President, you're indeed very welcome. We are honored that you've taken time off your busy schedule to join us here. That is the commitment of the leadership of this country in trying to drive the country forward in self-sustenance. So your being here, Your Excellency, really invigorates us and re-energizes us. With us here, we have guests who are from all over the world, within the country, from different sectors. We have those who are still serving and those who retired but still ensure that they serve the citizens of this country. Would like to you on board. Millenium Sacco is one of those initiatives that are not only aimed at empowering people, but have an impact on this country. It brings people from across the country and it's all inclusive, but most importantly, it also empowers women. We know how central women are to the development of this country. I'm Deogracious Serumaga. I'm the MC of the day, and that's what I should have done first. But I wanted to bring you on board and also tell you that because we value the role of women in our socioeconomic transformation, my co-MC is Mary Mungati, and I said I cannot have a co-MC who is a gentleman, because sometimes men would not understand the emotional distress people go through, but the ladies understand it better. And every man, when he gets a problem, in our local dialects, you never hear somebody saying tatanze, they say mamanze. And our brothers and sisters from the other side, they will say yamawe. And then, you know, and that's why they always say Mother Nature, because ladies nurture. So whatever we put to the ladies, and we have ladies on our team, they actually nurture. I'm probably extending the celebration of Women's Day, and we shall continue doing that. On that note, I would like to, I don't have the capacity to invite the keynote speaker because I'm not very well suited to that, and neither can I fit in his shoes to be able to invite him. And I'll also invite a distinguished man of God, the Right Reverend Dr. Fred Sheldon Mwesigwa, to come and invite our keynote speaker. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. Praise the Lord. You are very warmly welcome. My task is to invite the keynote speaker, but I thank God for you already seated and for such a gathering as this. We have before us a man that I've lately gotten to know. He's called Joe Adams. He's president and CEO of Hampton Prayer Group. The pronunciation, don't mind. Many Ugandans, when they saw it, they thought it was prayer because they love prayer very much. But it is P-R-Y-O-R Group. It's from the US. He's a certified internal auditor, certified recovery vendor, certified recovery manager. The two are different. Certified, his profession is certified risk manager. And Joe Adams comes to us from the US through Anne Mujisha, whom some of you may know. She's our Christian in Ankole there, and she works with the United Nations, Chief of Information Management, UN, Somalia based, and the two are going to tie the knot soon. Can you imagine? So they are on, what do they call this? What do they call it? Courtship. Courtship. Yes. So I welcome you warmly, but he's a guy who is so into banking, and he will say some more things. May the Lord God bless you as you hear from him. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bishop. Your Excellency, Madam Vice President, to my Lord Bishops, and to my fellow speakers, and to you, ladies and gentlemen, I say good morning. Behold how good and pleasant it is for brethren to gather together in unity. And that's what we're doing here today. We're gathering together in unity. And as I go into my speech, you will hear me many times talk about unity, community, and neighbors. First of all, I want to give thanks to Almighty God for not only giving me this opportunity today, but for being an integral part of my life. I have gotten to live many years, and I realize that every extra minute that I live is by a grace and blessing of the Almighty God. So I never take that for granted. I also want to thank Bishop Shelton and Mr. Frederick for this invitation to address this group for a few minutes. Bishop didn't tell me that there would be so many august dignitaries here, so he kind of fooled me with that one, but that's okay. Bishop has become my advisor. As he said, we've only known each other for a few months, but he's become my advisor on so many levels, and we've traded probably more emails back and forth about so many things. And his wise counsel is always appreciated. A little about myself besides being Joe Adams from the Hampton Pryor Group in the United States of America. I have over 35 years in the financial services industry, with the majority of those years spent as a senior manager with two of the largest banks in the U.S., JP Morgan Chase and Citigroup. My story in that is that I started from the most entry-level position in those group. And at Citi, I ended up as the senior vice president running risk management for all of North America, Mexico, and the Caribbean. So if I can learn anything, as Mr. Frederick said about training for staff, if I can learn anything, your staff can learn anything. But the thing about it is that we continue to grow. I'm from West Philadelphia. I don't know if any of you are familiar with United States television, maybe The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Has anybody ever seen that show? Okay, so you know what the opening theme song is. West Philadelphia, born and raised. Well, that's my story. I am West Philadelphia, born and raised. Unfortunately, I didn't have rich relatives in Bel-Air that my parents could ship me to. So that's kind of where our story similarities end. About my company, the Hampton Pryor Group, what we do, we've been around since 2001. And since that time, we've assisted various types of financial institutions, including credit unions with improving its operations, account risk management, vendor management, and regulatory compliance. And I noticed on the slides that were up here, regulatory compliance was a key thing. And that's something that we pretty much key on, along with training and operations. In that time, we've been very, very fortunate. We've had the opportunity to work with clients outside of the United States in such places as Turkey, Spain, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Mexico, Panama, Costa Rica, and Guatemala. We're not a large company, we're a small company, but we're a small company with, I'm proud to say, extremely talented people. All of our consultants have held either vice president or C-level suite positions in companies before they came to work for us. And that's what makes us special. As I was telling Mr. Frederick, you don't have to be big to be successful. You just have to be good at what you do. And if you're good at what you do, all of the other successes that come along with growth will occur. So the topic of my talk today is neighbors helping neighbors. The importance, necessity, and good common sense of investing in Saccos in general and Millenium Sacco specifically. Over the course of my career, as you can imagine, I've read hundreds of books on business and success. So I want to start with quotes from one of the best books ever written on the subject, the Bible. Philippians 2:4 instructs, instead of each person watching out for their own good, watch out for what is better for others. Proverbs 3:27 states, don't withhold good from someone who deserves it when it is in your power to do so. Saccos, okay? Keep that in mind. So again, neighbors helping neighbors. Being from the United States, I have to admit that when I was talking to Bishop about a Sacco, I had no idea what a Sacco was. Okay. I had to ask him what the acronym stood for. And when he told me and I did research into it, I realized that a Sacco is a credit union. That's what we call it in the United States because we're not as sophisticated as the rest of the world. I'll freely admit that. But when you have a Sacco, you realize that the core purpose and principles of the organization, whether you call it a credit union or a Sacco, are the same. So many of the things that I will state today come from previous speeches I have given to credit union associations and community-based bank associations over the course of my career. I noticed that one of the goals of this Sacco is to become an indigenous commercial bank. Well, an indigenous commercial bank is a community-based bank. And there really is a difference between the commercial bank that we know or come to expect and an ICB. So I'm going to start with talking about Saccos. I want to cover 4 areas briefly today. One, why the Sacco community-based bank is needed in the community, the key attributes of a successful Sacco, the responsibilities of a Sacco and community-based bank, and finally, the importance of investment in a Sacco in general, but more specifically, the importance and why you should invest in Millenium Sacco. So why is a Sacco needed in the community? I'm not going to bore you with the evolution of Saccos, credit unions in the United States. Needless to say that your evolution of Saccos here has gone a lot better than ours has in the United States. But we've had many, many debacles that led to us having the type of credit unions in the United States we have today, that bankly, your Sacco would be the epitome of if people in the States could see it. But there's so many similarities. The commonality between Saccos and credit unions lie in the reasons for their emergence and necessity, which are basically the same: neighbors helping neighbors. And the word neighbor takes on many different meanings based on the type and membership makeup of the Sacco. Some Saccos are community-based, based on a geographical area. Others are based on religious groups, trade unions, professional organizations, or even fraternal organizations. Regardless of the origin of the Sacco, they share certain commonalities. First, Saccos do not have customers. Saccos have members. And there's a real difference there. Commercial banks have customers, okay? And I will talk a little bit later on about what the difference in priorities are between serving customers and serving members. Secondly, Saccos are owned, controlled, utilized, managed for the sole benefit of its members. And that's key. Now, that membership is going to look differently, as I'll talk about later, but again, when it's all said and done, the purpose of the Sacco is for its members, to be utilized by its members, and to embrace more people into the membership. So some key attributes of a successful Sacco, and as I was watching the presentation earlier, I saw so many of these things already being inculcated into Millenium Sacco. So for the professional staff, I say congratulations. To the board management, I say congratulations. For others who are unfamiliar with how Saccos work, this is just going to be a very, very basic primer into it. So successful Saccos have three things in common: strong membership, leadership team, which is your governing board, engaged professional management staff, importantly, a clear vision and mission statement. And as I was looking at the slides today and reading the handout, I look at our mission in Millenium Sacco, and I say our mission because I am now a member. So our mission in Millenium Sacco is empowering communities with customized quality products and services. Empowering communities, empowering our neighbors. That's what we want to do. Our vision is to have a large, successful, well-run financial institution whose members' livelihoods are improved. Not whose customers' livelihoods are improved, not whose stockholders' livelihoods are improved, but the members' livelihoods are improved. Members helping members, neighbors helping neighbors. That's where we're at. The governing board sets the direction for the organization. These individuals are those neighbors whom the Sacco seeks to serve and represent. They are the heart of the Sacco membership. They know what direction they would like to take the organization in, what the objectives for the organization are, and more importantly, who the members of the organization are. That's something a commercial bank could never make that honest statement about, okay? They couldn't. So a strong governing board is made up of a diverse cross-section of the membership and rotated on a regular basis. Members who volunteer for the board positions truly are passionate about not only where the organization is at today, but what is envisioned for the future. And if you saw on the slide, one of the things was we need volunteers to serve in leadership positions. The only way a Sacco works is if its members get involved, because it's your organization. You can't leave the heavy lifting to someone else. You have to be involved in your organization. This group may have the best things and the best things in heart for the organization, but sometimes the biggest challenge I've observed with credit unions in the United States and in any member-led organization is that they sometimes fail to remember this key important point. Your obligation is to the membership as a whole, not to any individual member. Okay? Again, the obligation is to the membership as a whole, not to any individual member. That becomes hard, especially if you're in a community-based Sacco, when your members are your neighbors, are your friends, are these neighbors that you seek to help. And everyone has a story, but sometimes we always have to remember a Sacco is still a business. And when I get to that part of my speech, I'm going to make it very, very clear that being a business is not a bad thing, but a Sacco is a business. It has responsibilities to the membership to deliver those things that it has committed to deliver to the membership. An engaged professional staff. Utilization of a professional management staff ensures that the policies of the governing board are adhered to, their vision comes to fruition, and the organization remains regulatory compliant. Remaining regulatory compliant. The fact that I'm a compliance guy, don't let that shade my emphasis on that, okay? But again, the best way to keep the money you make is not have to pay it out in fines. So remaining regulatory compliant is omnipotent. So in doing it, I'm sure many of us in this room have discovered that having a great idea is one thing, but executing on and making that idea become a reality sometimes takes a different skill set. Your professional staff does not have to be big, but it's important to have individuals that have the ability to learn and to do diverse things. One of our most successful credit union clients consists of the president and 7 other staff members who perform every required service from front counter and back office customer service to other membership services, to credit underwriting, to risk assessment, to loan making and collections, loss prevention, and also community involvement. Huge for Saco, community involvement. A Sacco staff has to have a real passion for their job. And while they have this passion, they must also deal with the inherent politics of the organization. And I'm sure I'm really preaching to the choir for the staff members when they hear that. The most difficult yet most necessary part of the professional management staff's job is speaking truth to power. As I stated earlier, the professional staff's job is to ensure the leadership's vision comes to fruition. However, every idea coming from the board is not brilliant. Every idea coming from the board is not doable. And it is the professional management staff's job, and they have an inherent obligation to present the pros and the cons, the potential obstacles and pitfalls to accomplish this mission. That's very, very hard sometimes when you have to go to the chairman or any member of the board who says, I have this great idea that I think is going to move the Saco leaps and bounds. And then when you sit down and deal with the analysis and the data, and in my life, data is king, because we can all believe what we want and we can all have our own truths, but we can't have our own facts. We have to deal with the data. So it's kind of hard to come back and say, well, I know what you want, but the data shows otherwise. And then they're staring at you like, how dare you, or why would you come back and say that? But again, that comes from speaking truth to power. And that's how come you have to have a strong professional staff. And most importantly, the member leadership, that board, has to have the appropriate respect for that professional staff. You hired them for a reason. You hired them because they're going to do, as we say in American football, the blocking and tackling for you so that the Saco can score the touchdown. So you have to respect them, and there has to be a mutual respect. And I just call that the power of the partnership between the membership board and the professional staff. And nothing should take the place of the power of that partnership. So what are some of the key attributes of a successful credit union or Saco? First, you must know and be involved in the community that you are serving. Know your members. Tellers and staff should get to know members, names, and in some cases, their stories. In the United States, I have both of my business accounts and my personal accounts with a credit union. And there are many economic reasons why I do that. Number one, the interest is better and I get dividends, which I like. But more importantly, when I walk through that door, they know me by name. They ask about my family. They ask how business is going. And you really cannot put a price on how important that interpersonal relationship is between the organization and its members. Now the members stop feeling like customers and they feel like family. And that's what you want. They feel like neighbors. And what are we there to do as a Saco? We're there for neighbors helping neighbors. The organization's vision and mission statement must be clear. And as I read earlier, Millenium's is very, very clear. But more importantly, it has to be inculcated in every single thing that we do as an organization. Both the vision and the mission need to be constantly communicated to the members and demonstrated to its community. The real sign of a strong Saco is they have TTB. And TTB stands for Titanic True Believers. When you have a Titanic True Believer, that person's going to come back to you for their needs no matter how many other organizations similar to what you do crop up. Because you have done those things to make them Titanic True Believers. Millenium is going to be successful because we are going to create thousands of Titanic True Believers who know where there may be other Sacos, there may be other banks, but they know to get the things that they need and the way that they need them and the manner in which they need to be delivered is going to come from Millenium. So that's why we're going to have our TTBs. One of the top responsibilities of the organization, any member service organization, is to be there. We must be present for our members. Again, notice I didn't say we must be present for our membership. We must be present for our members. When someone comes through that door, when someone goes online, when someone makes any sort of transaction with Millenium Saco, okay, they are having an interaction, and that interaction has to be great. So we've got to be there for whatever they need, whenever we can do it. And being there is not, again, necessarily in face-to-face. And think how frustrated you are when you're directed to a website, and you go to the website, and it's timing. Then it times out, and you get something like, oops, it's unavailable. That's frustrating. That's not being there. So what happens if we're going to purchase something? We'll go to option B. We're not going to go back to option A and keep trying and hoping and trying and trying. We'll go to option B. So if we're being there for our members, that's why we're going to be successful. Being there involves a number of things. First, for the organization to grow, it must have a strong educational component for its members. This education would include such items as how to and the value of saving money, the importance of investing in your neighbors and how this develops a stronger sense of community, how every member shilling is utilized to improve the lives of its members. Very important, how to manage the loan that you get. One of the things that I do in my job is risk management. And part of risk management is loss prevention and loss recovery. Some of you may know that as collections. That's okay, because you know what? You can't use any money that you don't have. And if someone owes you money, you have to get it back. So a responsibility becomes for the Saco, teach the members how to manage that loan. Teach them the importance of the repayment plan, whatever it is that's established. Teach them the importance of not trying to borrow more money than you can pay back. Just give them some general education about the loan. And finally, the value of building generational wealth. And when I say generational wealth, I mean members teaching their children the value of saving often. The best way necessarily for an elder family member to leave it to someone. The best way to have generational wealth is to teach that one that's younger how to achieve for themselves. That's what you do as elders, as parents, as that we do. We say, look, we want you to have more than what we have. And you look at us and you say, oh, but you have so much. No, but guess what? We may have a lot, but I never want you to work as hard to get what you have as we had to work to get what we have. So teach that, and as the Sacco, we need to tell our members and help our members instruct their children coming in. So what does that mean? Have a youth program, a youth savings program to get these people in. Guess what? If there are members, and if it's legally allowed, because I know I have a lot of lawyers in the room, if it is legally allowed to have young people as members of your Sacco, get them early, because guess what? You're in the process of developing Titanic true believers. If they're with you at 10, they'll probably be with you at 20, and when they turn 30, and they'll bring their children in, and so on and so forth. Sometimes a responsibility of the Sacco that we have, and I really consider it a luxury, is that sometimes we need to forget the rules, okay? Banks have rules. We have lending rules. We have to stick to them. Heaven help us if we try to break them for any reason, no matter how compelling the story, no matter how we go from being empathetic to sympathetic, which is a very dangerous way to go. But, it is what it is. And commercial banks live in a box. How do I know? I ran one. We live in a box. The great thing about Saccos is because it's members helping members, you get the opportunity to make qualified and intelligent exceptions to the rule. One of the things that we have to do, and it's a responsibility for anyone that's dealing with a membership, is we must treat every member fairly, but we are under no obligation to treat every member the same. So sometimes the word no comes in handy. The organization has a responsibility to maximize membership deposits, which leads me to my next topic of the Sacco as an investment. Across every utilization category, the Sacco is an investment, and every knowledgeable investor looks for a decent return on investment, that coveted ROI. The thing is, that return on that investment can take on many different appearances. And speaking of investments, before I go on, I think one of my predecessor speakers said that he was hoping for 10 million shillings, I should say, in investment. Well, you know what? My fiance and I are going to commit 20 million shillings. We've joined. Now, I don't do that for applause, but I say this because, again, it's neighbors helping neighbors, and a responsibility of the membership to assist the Sacco. So we join, now we're in, okay? So now we got to pony up. So not every member of a Sacco needs the lending or educational benefits of the organization. Some members invest in Saccos because, like us, we believe in the concept of neighbors helping neighbors. Or they want to improve the socioeconomic position of their communities by keeping shillings in their communities. Or they anticipate a good return on that investment. And that return, I said, takes on many different pictures. For example, if we loan money to a farmer who grows vegetables and selling those vegetables to a small restaurant in the community, a farm-to-table situation, And the owner of that restaurant is not only spending money with that farmer, but spending money with other local purveyors. What are we doing? That's neighbors helping neighbors. That's a good return on the investment. That investment is we're making the community better. So some who don't necessarily need a loan, want a loan, but want to see others become successful because of the things we may or may not be able to provide by making that investment, that's our return. And again, we need to get that return, but let's be realistic. A Saco is a business, and businesses exist to make money. A business that's not making money is called a hobby. Okay? And we all have our hobbies, but none of them is being involved in the Sacco. So what we have to do is make sure the business makes money, but the big benefit for the membership is how the money that is earned is distributed. Okay? In a Sacco, the money that's earned goes back to the membership. And vicariously through the membership to the members. It doesn't go to the conglomerate in Saudi Arabia that happens to own 20% of the shares of the bank. Okay? It's in the community. It's neighbors helping neighbors. And to keep this cash flow going, the Sacco needs to do a couple of things. Number one, consistently grow the membership. Two, keep your overhead low. Because it's not leadership's money, it's the members' money. Keep member shillings flowing in the form of community loans, whether they be school loans or other types of loans or small business loans. You got to keep the money flowing, okay? Money's like water. If it sits too long in one place, it becomes stagnant. You got to keep it flowing. You got to keep fueling that community economic engine. And you have to have good old-fashioned risk management, and you have to make good, sound decisions in your investments. And when I say investments, I mean investments in the loans you make and the things you do. It can't be that gut feeling you have. It has to be data-driven and based on empirical data. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a member of Millenium Saco. I got information about it and I told Bishop Shelton, the first time he mentioned it to me in December, I said, how can I get involved in it? I want to be involved in it. Didn't know what a Sacco was, but he said, money. I said, okay, I want to get involved in it. And I urge every person here that is not a member of Millenium Saco to join, and to join for the reasons that I just mentioned. We are neighbors helping neighbors. The vision and mission shared shows not only continued financial growth, as you saw by the chart, but the desire to extend its ability to help more Ugandans achieve their dream of self-reliance, self-sufficiency, and providing that generational wealth that I spoke about. Very important. The investment in Millenium Saco continues to grow because it's forward-thinking and it's community-centric. And the main thing is the community at large. It's rare to hear about scandals and Sacos. There's some, but you never hear the type of scandals and Sacos that you hear in commercial banks. Okay? And the reason that those scandals occur for the most part, because commercial banks have stockholders, and stockholders are beasts that need to be fed on a quarterly basis. How do I know? I'm a stockholder in some banks, and I look at those quarterly reports all the time. And if the numbers aren't right, I'm firing off a letter. Okay? And I'm just one of many who look for a certain return, because my motive in being a stockholder in that bank is different than my motive for being a member of Millenium Saco. If I thought for a minute that that bank was doing something for my community, I would understand the numbers ebbing and flowing. But since I know that they don't, then I have a grievance. But with the Saco, we know that we're here for the people. And remember this. Just remember that banks are short-term sprinters and Sacos are long-distance runners. And for reference, just go back to the fable, The Tortoise and the Hare, and we know who wins in the long run. As I take my seat, I just want to leave you with two more verses from the best business book ever. One verse says, "Those that are gracious to the poor lend to the Lord, and the Lord will fully repay them. And the next one says, generous persons will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Thank you for your time and attention this morning. I hope something I've said will resonate and be of value to you. Again, thank you for the invitation, and I look forward to speaking with you individually if you desire. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe Adams. We have had a learning curve here. I think many in this room, as well as me, have had a learning curve here. And we really appreciate your words of wisdom. I believe everyone in the Sacco is now looking at how to grow these TTBs, the Titanic True Believers, because if we start young, as he told us, we will retain everyone. So we really appreciate your words, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us. I would like to join in with my co-MC, and first of all, welcome again all the ladies here. You're most welcome. And since I am looking at the ladies, I would like to welcome a lady. This is a lady who is a managing partner in a company, 80/20 Consulting. She is also a former executive director with Barclays Bank. This lady is rooted in the Christian faith. She is with All Saints Church, head of building. She's also a board member with the church commissioners. So this is a lady who will understand this Saco business. She is already rooted right with the faith. As we know, the Millenium Sacco is a birth child of the Ankole Diocese. So this lady will really inspire us with her wisdom. She already has the right qualifications to talk to us about this, and she's going to talk to us more about fundraising. So I'd like you to put your hands together and welcome with me, Vivian Igundura. You're most welcome.
Your Excellency, Madam Vice President, my Lord Bishop Sheldon, honorable gentlemen and ladies in the house. My name is Vivian Igundura. I almost wanted to disagree with the co-MC. I was brought up in an environment where we promoted equality and diversity. So whereas we promote women, where we are now, we are talking investments and should be equal playing field, women and men. I want to thank Bishop Sheldon. When this Saco was starting, I was one of the initial board members of this Saco. And having my experience in banking, I want to thank the core board members. I believe some are still there, I don't know, but I left soon after that because of busy schedule. But we started it off on the right footing. And our speaker this morning talked about risk management. He really did talk about one element that I'm going to talk about. You need to keep the overhead costs low. That's why this Saco is among the best investments in this land. Ask me why. Surprisingly, I'm not yet a member. But this morning, I'm not leaving without subscribing to be a member. I looked are the accounts for Millenium Sacco for 2020. As an example, in my company, we do financial literacy, we talk about investments, we handhold people who are looking to do investments, and we give them information and ideas on where they should put their money to get the best value for their money. So I picked out one example. Allow me to use that example because I'm trying to speak to you so that you know why you should invest in Millenium Sacco. When you go investing, you ask yourself, why should I invest? Here's the reason why. And those of you who are from the financial sector, you know where the treasury bill rates are. I even use one example because investing in a Sacco is long term, like our speaker said. The government 10-year bond has a yield, as we speak right now, an effective yield of 14.4 something. Then 91 days, 3 months, treasury bill rates are at the moment 6.6%. I'm looking at the auction of 2nd March. They do publish these things in the press. 6 months treasury bill rate. Now these rates you can't get in the banks, by the way. But I stood here and the board member, and the rate on a fixed deposit is 12%. So 182 days, which is 6 months, 8.58%. These are government rates, T-bill. Yeah, 9.7. They are giving us 12%. If anything, if you're not going to invest as a shareholder or as a member, take your money there. Where are you putting your money? TB rates, their rate is far much better. But let me go to that example so that I tell you the reason why you should actually invest in Millenium Sacco. This member had shares worth 14 million. Those of you who are mathematicians, do the maths. 14,229,759 and got a dividend payout of 4,370,876. And I'm told she's a lady. I didn't know who it is, but I read from what they published. And my simple mathematics, ladies and gentlemen, gives me 30.72%. Those of you who do invest in land, in property, I happen to handhold several women investment groups. And the in thing right now, which actually I think is a good thing to do, is investing in unit trusts with these insurance companies. And the rate's going at the moment about 10.5 to about 11. The beauty with these unit trusts that there is no tax at the moment, thanks to the government. Maybe the regime will change. But at the moment, if you go unit trusts, there is no taxation at what you earn at the end. But remember, is 10.5 to about 11. But we've got a calculation here giving us 30.72. My goodness. If you haven't invested in Millenium Sacco, where are you? Where are you investing? Where are you investing? Mine this morning is to encourage us, if we haven't invested, to actually think of investing. Personally, I don't even come from Ankole Diocese. I used to, but now I come from Northwest Ankole Diocese. We also started a Sacco where we are investing as a family. But when you're an investor, you look for return. Hello? You look for return. Remove the emotions that this is where I belong or this is my bank, or this is my investment group. Where is the return? Where the return is where you go. I want to leave that with you. Where is the return? The other beauty is that this Sacco is rooted in Christ. The more reason on their own, they have managed the overhead costs. Our speaker did talk about it. And the risks, because they know they are serving God, not serving us. Colossians 3:23, I believe is one of their driver, that whatever you do it like you are doing for Christ. If they were not doing it for Christ, this member would not have gotten a return of 30.7 on an investment. I want to thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let's give her another big round of applause. It is very characteristic of women or ladies to exercise humility. She said, this is a level ground. And I saw most of the men say, yeah. But when you say there's a lady there who's had a problem, what could their problems be? You get it. So I think one of the lessons I've picked is to exercise humility. Yes, it's a level ground, but exercising humility is key. Now, from the previous speakers, I think we have picked something, a thing or two. From our keynote speaker, one of the things that I picked resonates with one of the writers, Leo Tolstoy. He wrote the book 10 Short Stories. And in his conclusion about helping humanity and working with humanity, he gave this quote that he who loves God and has love in God, for God is love, is what men live by. He who loves God and has love in God, for God is love, is what men live by. Now, success in life is about having an impact on another human being's life. Whatever we do, when I look around, there are those people who have had an impact on my life. They've never given me money. They've never given me any material thing, but they worked together and gave knowledge, which was a very big investment. So when you work as Millenium Sacco, you work as a community, not as customers. As you serve, you're also impacting on another human being. And lastly, from what the keynote speaker said, we seem to have been working for riches rather than working for wealth. We work to be seen today. In America, it's about driving the Humvee. In Europe, it's about driving the Ferrari. In Uganda, it's about driving the latest Land Cruiser. So, but that Land Cruiser, that Humvee, that Ferrari, once crashed, you have nothing to write home about. But once you invest in wealth, it goes for generations and generations. On that note, I'd like to break the monotony and call upon the head of the organizing committee, that is Big Five Tourism, Mr. Milton George Mwesigwa, to give us a word or two.
Sir? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I take the pleasure to take off the mask. I take the pleasure to the several phone calls that have been coming to you about this event, to the face, and also the honor that you've accorded us today. It's been a good of work from the previous speakers. Before we proceed, I would love to trust one who is into the deeper problem of the Sacco, and we'll give her 1 minute so that she can spill off a bit of details about the Sacco. That is the lady Ruth Nabiwafu from Trust Bank. Last Trust, I beg your pardon. And then we'll just proceed with this. Just a minute, if you permit me. Please. Only a minute, and a minute is a minute.
Numbers.
Very good morning. I'm giving 1 minute. It's almost gone. I'm here to remind you of this bank, Finance Trust Bank, to tell you that please move with a bank that is ready to move you. Since we are already established, I'm now looking at digitization, taking you to the next level with this bank, whereby you can do all your operations within this Sacco on your personal phone, and you have things done. Now we have for information concerning your marketing needs, in between your peers, and we have it done. We offer financial literacy trainings and many more. And lastly, I'm here to remind you that we all went through a difficult time in COVID, and the government gave us some money. It can be accessed in two banks, that is Finance Trust Bank and Centenary Bank. It issues out 50%, and the bank also tops up 50%. Please, members, let's make use of this money. It's there for us. It ranges from 300,000 to 100 million, with a grace period of up to 1 year, and a good interest rate of 10% per annum, which translates into close to 0.899 per month. It's even less than 1%. Thank you very much. I was given 1 minute. Hope I've not exceeded it. Be blessed.
Thank you so much for respecting that. Though, why I requested for that 1 minute, Sacco or bank? I leave that to you. Sacco or bank? And thank you so much. So I would love the general manager, please come join me here, so that we can concretize this through the campaign of our buy shares, become members. I've sent you with the team several links. That's a new platform that is coming around, and it is allowing us to reduce on the noise of social media. You've realized we're going to play it there again. Many of us have not seen the pages that are within there. That's the purpose that we're here. But back to the Sacco, not the bank. We want the general manager to tell us about the unsecured quick facilities. And then I can just close my speech. Me, I don't want to take more than 2 minutes. General manager, I can allow you only 2.
Thank you. Like the way we said, Millenium Sacco is now an institution that now embraces everyone, and we want to secure your deals. We want to give you the quick money instead of going to money lenders, the money sharks. So what we have done now, we've designed a program, a product that if you have more than 20 million shillings as shares, you can access a loan of if you have 10 million shillings as shares, you can access 20 million shillings within 24 hours. So what you have to do is to have your ID and give a call to the branch manager, and then we can do your application even online and credit your account. So with this, it is to benefit the corporates, or whoever thinks can have shares more than 10 million, then you can access 20 million within 24 hours. So that's a deal, the good deal that we have as a Sacco. And I think we're the first of the kind. Others will tell you to come with the land agreement, your grandfathers, your natives. But for us now, you can just have one. Otherwise, thank you very much.
You know, when you work with people annotation, we squeeze time, and we don't want to get you bored. So lastly, about the link that is there, that's what I was sharing, that the next, what we would have loved is, as we're here, everybody is having the program onto your smartphone. And this is the new era that Zoom and all the other technology companies have brought. to reduce on the toxic energy of social media. So now this one, we have the bishop speak to us as to how he was encouraging us to get through. Please, you can tap on the volume a little bit, if it is. We'll run through it, 1 second. We can go to the next page. At least everybody has seen the link. Then we go to the next one. So we could easily have 100 people on one portal, which is this one here. And this will take us not more than 5 minutes for a meeting that would take the whole day. So as the big five, we want to use this primary source as the Millenium Sacco and the opportunity that we got to be their lead marketeer, so that our next programs become as easy and swift. And as well, not forgetting to invest as the sole purpose. Because when you look through this, it takes us all the way to who to contact, how to register, and how to also have your own credentials registered for accreditation. All right? So last but not least, I would love to thank the team that put this together, the general manager, the board chair, my Lord Bishop, His Excellency, and I was told that when you're in the serving force, her and he is always he or sir. Sir, Your Excellency. It's learning. Thank you so much. And my team, we have got Del Gracious, we've got Mary Mungati, and it's a very energetic team. Please, should you have a query about how to go and network, this new platform will take you miles, and as well, will clean your house. Right? So please allow me to welcome my Lord Bishop so that you can also introduce the next speaker immediately after your keynotes. Thank you so much. That was my brief.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mwesibwa. Namesake has a very sophisticated company called the Big Five. And they've done a tremendous job to link us to you all. And certainly I must appreciate, because we were almost 24/7 in touch. And I really got to know how much you put in. I got to know it by last night when you delivered the invitation card to Joe Adams at Munyonyo. That's when I understood fully the role you have played. Make my presentation, then I'll invite the guest of honor, and then we shall have the vice president. That's all. That's it. Good. I have some PowerPoint for illustration. Sometimes it is good for some images to be fast for us. Yeah, the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, retired Major Jessica Alupo. The guest of honor, Professor Ezra Suruma. Distinguished speakers, in particular Joe Adams, and your fiancé, Anne. The chairman, Millenium Saco. That gentleman, Chairman Millenium Saco, is the chairman of the project that resulted in the biggest Anglican church in Eastern Central Africa. Stand up. All Saints Church in Mbarara actually is a bigger project than All Saints in Kampala. Quantitatively, data. They talked about data. You go and check out the facts. And in our congregation, we don't have even a minister. You don't have even a very big political person. Nothing. But I think I need to give thanks to God for people like him. If you look at the church council of all saints, professors, engineers, but honesty is number one and number key. That's what we trade with. The chairman, the CEO, Big Five, and your team, my dear wife, can you stand up, please? My wife is my support, of course, and she's called Mama Dr. Alice Mwesigwa. She has her PhD from Dar es Salaam University, and she's an educationist, and apparently she's the vice president of Mothers Union for Province of Church of Uganda. So in hierarchy, she's above me because me, I'm a diocesan bishop. So for her, she's on the province. So I salute you. Ladies and gentlemen, my presentation, greetings, outline, and welcome. Why Saco dream of a bank? Remarks, lessons, appeal, and then conclusion. Not much. Why? Actually, here I must confess, when I was doing my charge as a bishop, when bishops are made bishops, they write a compendium of what they are going to do. It's like a manifesto for politicians. The only thing that was not in my charge was the creation of a financial institution. It is the only thing which was not there, among many which, by God's grace, I've been able to do. Whenever I would go to the parishes, everywhere I would go, the Christians would say, Bishop, why can't we start some financial institution? Bishop, why can't you start? Bishop, why can't we start? Bishop, why? The song was so big, and eventually I listened, and the rest is history. So it is important to learn and hear from people what they are saying. As a leader, it was never part of my plan. In fact, I got so scared when I saw it. I said, now, me, with my born again values, isn't this a dangerous territory I'm going into? But later, the Lord showed me, yeah, you get on. So, I not believe by the point of repeating the history of the Sacco. As a founder patron, my motivation of promoting this Sacco to grow into something bigger, because I believe in dreaming, is derived from Jesus' teaching of the parable of the talents, Matthew chapter 25, verse 14 to 30. Jesus talks about a man who went on a journey and entrusted his servants with his property. When I read it talks of property. Property is about real estate, you could say. It's a property of different kinds. To one, he gave 5 talents. That being 5 houses. Another, he gave 2 talents. To another, he gave 1 talent. The first 2 traded their talents, and they made profit. And the third one made no profit. I don't want to labor on the one who failed. Let's go to the positives. This one who did well, the master said, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I'll put you in charge of many things. Yes, 1 Peter 5:6. Humble yourself under God's mighty hand, and in good time he will lift you up. Faithful in few, I'll put you in charge of big things. So that is something we look at, and we pray and hope it comes to pass. The lesson, certainly, as a bishop and as a church, as a diocese, we are in the business of the kingdom of God, of harvesting souls for Christ, so that people can go to heaven. That's our major mandate. One other things you may love to know, that our diocese owns a radio which reaches about 20 districts in southwestern Uganda for evangelism, but even social, economic, and development. But since Jesus Christ uses an illustration of property management to explain kingdom business, Therefore, sanctified business, or to use the most current term, he sanitized business. Yes. Since Jesus is using business language, he has been able to sanctify and make holy business. So if you're a business, I'm in the wrong place, because even Jesus would use expressions of business, growing of fruits, growing. All his examples are about all that which we are used to here in Uganda. So, making of profit from this biblical context, we can say a bad thing. If you make profit, it is not evil. It can be evil if you make probably abnormal profits, or if you are engaged in something that uses wrong scales to get what you want. But if you do business well, like Jesus is saying, if you make profits, there is nothing wrong or satanic about that. The key word, faithfulness, motivates us as a religious founded institution to exercise this not so common attribute. Faithfulness, trustworthiness, honesty is very, very difficult. And it has cousins like transparency. One of the things I really love is transparency. Anything below transparency, I don't normally engage in. And I really love that. And we open ourselves to people, because neighbors helping neighbors. People should know. If someone asks you what is underneath that table, you can't know what is underneath the table. But if you ask about what is on the table, you are able to see. So we love to promote transparency in this Sacco, and that's why we publish size. Sometimes some of my people get so worried. Bishop, you are putting out so much information. You need to keep some a bit. Yes, okay, but maybe not. Maybe not. So when we say the highest earner of income, Madam Vivian, you saw her presenting. Actually, these presenters have given us more than we bargained for. Joe Adams and Vivian, amazing. Amazing. And we've not paid them even a cent, you see. But when Vivian was explaining the share, I was about to say, to be so open. Let me reserve that. I have someone who is close to me who is keeping money with the NSSF. And so we are warming up to go and get. You're not very close, so don't think maybe it is my wife. I don't know. So now I think it was supposed to get about, on his list he was like with 100 million or something. So we were seeing what he was going to get and what our Sacco gives. Then I was doing this research for this presentation. Then I asked about banks in Uganda. Who owns this bank? Who owns? And then I found NSSF has some shares in some bank, big time. I haven't researched on the returns there, but I think our Sacco is far ahead. Now I've said everything almost. Sorry. So, the return on investment, as he has said, is good. We want transparency. We don't want people to be there not knowing. So my appeal, I'm about to conclude. Distinguished dreamers, I've told you you are dreamers. Come and dream with us. I love dreaming. I love seeing things, visualizing them, come to pass, and the Lord has blessed me. Many times I see them come true. I invite you to join us and be members of this Sacco. Buy shares big time. At least I have minimum 10 million plus in the Sacco also. You are, lest you ask, why are you, what have you invested in? At least minimum 10 million. The Sacco has now consistently made profit for the last 2 years, even during COVID. And one thing I will tell you, the other day we had a business forum in Mbarara for the region. and we had Uganda Development Bank and Operation Wealth. They were in our area. And Ankole Diocese, we made a presentation. And Uganda Development Bank offered to come and work with us when they saw what we were able to offer. And also with Bishop Stewart University, our university, which is young and growing, but now has about 5,000 students. And it has also grown because of the fundamental principles we believe in. So, but this gentleman of Uganda Development Bank who came to visit us in my office, he said, Bishop, this region, Southwestern, somehow we have been blessed. People are able to work hard and they borrow money, and generally, this officer said they normally generally pay. But most regions, when you give them money, they don't want to pay. They say this is for government. That's what the officer was saying. So, simply put, when you have this money, there are people who want to use it, and there are people who will get the profits for you, and you'll be home and dry. So please invest with us. We shall move together and we do something great. It is unfortunate, distinguished guests, that in Uganda there are only, I did my research, about 5 local banks. But even 3 of those are not really even government. Probably one purely local bank, Centenary Bank, probably a religiously founded financial institution. And the second most highly profit-making bank in Uganda after Stanbic. These are public facts. Sometimes when I speak some things, then some of my Christians say, hey, don't talk about Centenary. Boy, me, I started banking with Centenary when I was a teacher at Interlude School, 1994. And actually, most of the things we have with my wife, we got them from Centenary, loans from Centenary. Most of the things we have, we've used loans to buy. We have properties in many places. I can't tell you a lie. And we thank God. But we did with Centenary Bank. So it is Centenary Bank makes, if you ever, most of us don't read often. When you bank with Centenary, they will give you a diary. I don't know if you have ever looked at the back and seen the shareholders. That one is your homework, Hugo. So, Stanbic makes about 120 billion every year in profits. Centenary about 110 billion every year. And shareholders go and make merry. So, it can be done. Come and join us. We dream big, we can go very far. But now my question is, and my Madam Vice President is here, Her Excellency. If Uganda is to be truly independent, why don't we promote local banks? Why? I'm told that Bank of Uganda, not I'm told actually, I even read the correspondence, well signed, is planning to raise the bank reserve amount from 25 billion to 150 billion, which you set aside and then start anew now, 150 billion. Now, how many Ugandan initiatives are going to make banks? Why leave the lucrative money business to foreign banks? This morning I got a conversation of 2 guys, PhD in economics. They read about this function today. They gave me a lecture in the car when I was coming, about 30 minutes. They have knowledge, my God. But I think what they don't have is other facilitation. Some people have knowledge, but they don't have other accessories. So they really gave me a lecture. It was unbelievable. I will not repeat it because it is too much. But among the things that they told me, I got to learn some of the dynamics. But some of the things they told me are subject to my inquiry, because you can never own a bank unless it is owned by foreigners. I said, no. What about this bank? What about this bank? They said, no. You will start it, even if it is running well. National bodies will come close it. They will not give you a report. Banat. But anyway, I don't know whether they were meant to, but they said they themselves are in plans of starting a bank. So the question, why leave the lucrative money business to foreigners? Where is the patriotism? Where is the independence of our nations? Yeah, I was born 1962, independence. I deserve a medal. The people who were struggling to get our independence, I was in my mother's womb. Yes. I was born 2 weeks before independence, you see? So what is the independence if we cannot tap these resources? And we neighbor helps neighbor. So now neighbor is helping foreigner. Conclusion. Once again, distinguished guests in your respective capacities, thank you for gracing this historical occasion and accepting to dream with us. Let us dream and keep going. Particularly, and of course, when the presentations were made by Joe Adams, I was almost saying, hey, maybe we don't necessarily need to be a bank even. Then I have Jocelyn, my former student, she's stand-up. She's also a very high-level marketeer, banker, whatever. She was telling me, in Kenya, some Saccos are more powerful than banks in Kenya here. Some Saccos are more powerful than banks. So what is in a name? I don't know. But we are here to learn. We shall continue to learn. Particularly, I wish to thank Excellency. No. The first is the President. I wish to thank His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Tibuhaburwa Museveni for constantly challenging religious leadership to be involved in transforming the lives of our Christians holistically. Everywhere I listened and I took it to heart. Everywhere he has been challenging us, and in our diocese, we have in Mbarara 5 commercial buildings, one of which was opened recently by Madam Vice President, 5 stories in Mbarara, in the center of the town. So I thank the President, and for the environment, as the chairman has said, professionals, before I forget, Abaho, the general manager, chairman, they've told us to listen to professionals, the data. That's also the rest we shall look through. Special thanks to the Vice President, Her Excellency, retired Major Jessica Alupo Epel, but our #1 cheerleader. Yes. And Joe Adam has given us a new terminology, true believer. She is asking us to go to Katapi actually, open there. So she is a Titanic true believer. This morning I met also the MP for Mbale. Where is he? He was also with my student. He has gone out, yeah. The MP Mbale is the head of Leyte. He was also calling us. We are going. Madam Ivory, stand up. This is my student in class. He's an MP for Mbarara district. Ivory used to be a good speaker. She must be doing good things there. So we want to move out. So thank you, Vice President. We appreciate. Perhaps for the first time ever, religious leadership is inviting you not to fundraise for church projects, but to invite you to invest with us and we make profit for you. Have you ever received this invitation? Where have you found it? Tell me where. So apparently, the public in southwestern Uganda has caught the fire, invested confidence and faith in us. I therefore warmly invite Kampalans and those who are following us on Zoom, online, abroad, whatever, Kampalans, the heartbeat of Uganda business, to join and dream with us so that in a few years, we grow our Sacco into some other big financial institution. if not even a bank, but big financial institution. But why not even a bank when the government listens to us and probably does not put these very big hurdles that we may not go over? Yet we have the numbers on our side, we have the professionals, and we have the capacity to be independent minded and eat our own in our country for God and my country. Unity for development. Let me take this opportunity, to invite someone who needs no introduction, but currently is Chancellor for Makerere University, but is a professor in the field of economics, and Professor Ezra Suruma is many things, needs no introduction. But one thing, the introduction I would like to make is also in this respect, that I had a chance when he came to represent the late Governor Mutevire. Some of you saw my article which I wrote in the papers about the wife of Mutevire and the Governor Mutevire, the background of revival. These are people who have made it big, but they are very humble backgrounds on Christian values. We have Justice Jotham. Sorry, let me ask you, stand up. Justice Jotham, the parents of Justice Jotham, yes, they have celebrated recently 75 years in holy matrimony. The parents, emyaka 75 mu bufumbo butukuvu. Ekyo kisoboka nga tolina Yesu. Bino ebyokugenda mubasamize mubiveeko bannange. Abantu bagamba abasamize, kakati abasamize ne mubawa entebe, sibitegeera ebyo. Mukama abawe omukisa. Can you come, Professor?
Shares. Thanks, we can proceed, my lord. Just proceed. These are coming to the tables as they buy shares. Presentation.
So please, if you want to buy shares, feel free. You go. There is also a lottery, but buy shares number one. Minimum people in this room, maybe minimum 5 million, but most of you 10. 10. You've known where to invest. And there is a raffle also. At the end, there will be a draw for a car, purchase of a car, and you go to the table and you will be welcome. So, Professor, can you come? After which, I will request you to invite the Vice President after your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my Lord Bishop, Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, members of the clergy, honorable ministers and former ministers, like Honorable Kamuntu and I think former Attorney General, esteemed manager from former judges, or still a present judge, I don't know. Honorable members of Parliament, the founders and shareholders and managers of Millenium Saco 2012, distinguished ladies and gentlemen in your respective capacities. I also came with Mrs. Suruma, which recognize her for kindly accompanying me. Thank you very much. And I told her that Bishop Sheldon West was organizing this. She said that he had visited our school some years back and gave a holiday. to teaching and helping teachers, but he never gave her a penny. I told her you should have given us him something. She said we didn't have at that time, but she was happy to come because of the benefit that she got from the visit of Bishop Mwesigo when Christian University in Mukono. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful for the invitation today about Saccos, about the Millenium Sacco. When I became Minister of Finance in 2005, immediately got an order from the President to present a paper on microfinance. I was informed that the ministry had already submitted 2 papers to Cabinet and they had been rejected. So there was a high risk of also being rejected. I did some research and I'm glad Honorable Kamuntu is still around. Honorable Kamuntu took me to Saccos in his area in Ankole. I also went to Uganda. And I saw good things. I saw ordinary people, ordinary Ugandans in AGM and your general meeting and transacting business. And I was very, very greatly encouraged. I said, this is a good model. So I wrote the Cabinet paper and recommended the savings and credit cooperatives should be adopted as the government model for microfinance. And luckily for me, the Cabinet accepted that proposal. And that is how Saccos became the main mechanism for government to participate in microfinance. Now, when I took the paper to Cabinet, what I had in mind was to create a mechanism. I'm sorry, let's turn this off. Create a mechanism to assist our people to save, create capital for ourselves. Secondly, what I had in mind was exactly what Bishop has been talking about, a mechanism to involve our people in capital formation, in banking. The theory that I found in the Ministry of Finance was the big banks would eventually spread to cover the whole country. I said, it is now, that was 2005, it is now 20 years since NRM came to power. And I don't see any sign of these banks spreading to the rural areas. We must find another mechanism. And so we recommended Saccos, but also I was looking for a window for us as Africans to get into the financial sector. At the time, I did not see any window. The capital requirements were too high. So I recommended Saccos, and they are adopted. But there are 2 fundamental problems. One of my colleagues, Honorable Chionga, after the Cabinet meeting said, your view of Saccos is different from what most people in the Cabinet think. For you, you're looking for a mechanism for our people to save said for many people in government, the Sacco is a mechanism for government to send money to the people. So these are two different approaches to Sacco. And as you can see, that disparity, if you like, is still with us. For some, the Sacco is a mechanism for government to send money to the people, whether for political reasons or other reasons. And for some of us, it should be a mechanism to encourage the savings of our people. It's important that we really appreciate the two approaches. They are not necessarily opposed. Indeed, in recent discussions in cabinet on the parish model, there seems to be some sense in which the president thought that the money that we are sending to the parish could help to cover the overhead costs of the Saccos, the overhead beginning costs, getting an office, buying safe, and so on. Initial costs are heavy. And when I was the head of Uganda Commercial Bank, which was the biggest bank and still is, but under a different name and management. We saw that it took about 3 years for a branch to become profitable. So because of this, many banks are not keen to go out and start branches because it is not profitable initially. It takes time. So if the government money can assist in helping to reduce the overhead commitment or overhead costs of starting Saccos, this may also help. But the problem is when the people think that this is free money, which the government has sent, and they're entitled to that money and they don't have to pay it back. We have to break that mentality. It is dangerous, and in my opinion, we shall not be able to get very far with this approach. Now, I will be speaking mainly about the prospects of the Sacco as an institution. But before I get into that, I wanted to mention this business of remaining a Sacco or being a bank. I happen to be a member of the Uganda Agency for Economic Development, which with Bishop Muhima as our patron, we started back in the early 90s. And we were lending, our motto was godliness and income in every home. We wanted to assist everyone in Uganda to have an income as well as having godliness. So we were successful. We grew. I think at one we reached about 10 billion, and everybody said we should become a bank. Now, having been the deputy governor in the central bank, I told them there are dangers of being a bank. It's not simple. It's very strict. Of course, the capital requirements are high, but also the regulatory mechanism is very strict. People said it's like King Saul. Everyone was saying we want to have a king. We want to be like others. I said, fine, but you have been forewarned. I was outvoted. We became a bank. And before a year was out, the Bank of Uganda said, you cannot own this bank. I said, but it's our bank. I said, no. The law does not allow you to own the bank. Why? because he said you're all related, you're all members of Uganda, so you can't own more than 30% of the bank. And we fought and fought, but we were defeated by the Bank of Uganda. And our bank, we were forced to sell shares. And when you sell shares, the Bank of Uganda has to approve the people who will sell shares to. So we found ourselves, before we knew it, 70% of our bank was owned by foreigners. So Uganda is there. We started it, we grew it, we're all Ugandans, which is worth over 60 billion now. But we only own, and as they buy more and more shares, our share diminishes. So now I think we are going under 20%. Bishop, I'm saying this so that you have an idea of some of the risks involved in becoming a bank. I don't want you to go it with your eyes. You need to go it with your eyes open. Now, I do not know whether the environment in the central bank has changed or is changing so that there are more kind towards Africans owning banks. I'm not aware of that. So there is a risk that if you make Millenium Sacco a bank, you may lose the control over the bank. Make sure you have assessed where you stand, so that you don't find that you, after all the building you've done, you are forced to hand over the bank to foreigners. The Vice President is here, and members of Parliament. I hope that this situation can be changed. The idea that when I was in the central bank as deputy governor, well, first as director of research, it required 300 million shillings to start a bank. And we went ahead in Kigezi and started a bank, Kigezi Bank of Commerce. We brought the communities together, the church, the Gomborolas. We came together and we were able to raise the money and we started a bank. Later on, it grew into National Bank of Commerce. Then in 2014, I was in Washington at Brookings Institution. I heard that the bank was closed. I said, but why is the bank closed? Up to now, I don't know why the bank was closed. So, but I'm partly guilty because when I was deputy governor, and IMF and World Bank said that we should have a new law to increase the independence of the central bank. I did not know what they were talking about, but I did some research. And said, now you see how Uganda shilling has been devalued continually, losing value every quarter, and you have to devalue and devalue because the government has too much influence over the central bank. That seems to make sense. It was true that the shilling was losing value constantly because the government was overspending. So they said it's important the central bank is independent so that he's able to act on monetary policy without direction from the Minister of Finance. So we wrote a new law, the Bank of Uganda Act, and increased the powers of the central bank. Now I regret that I went too far, because I think that there is no institution which should be so above all the other arms of government that can act unilaterally and harm the interests of the country. central bank should be assisting in the economic development of Uganda. But when I asked them what is their policy, they said number one, monetary stability, number two, monetary stability, and number three, monetary stability. I said, what about economic development? That's not our problem. So I think this environment needs to change. Now, let me come to my main topic today, in line with the theme of building pillars for business. The prospects for the church to contribute to national institution building. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines a pillar as a firm, upright support for the superstructure. A firm, upright support for the superstructure. So the emphasis is on firmness, uprightness, and support. So, but today I pray that you permit me to use the word institution as an example of a pillar that can provide a firm and upright support to a community or a society. I wish to propose that at this time in history, the vision of the Millenium 2012 Saco as an institution that can provide firm and upright support to communities throughout Uganda and beyond is a refreshing opportunity to contribute to the mandate that is given to all Christians in Matthew 25, 31 to 46. The bishop talked about Matthew 25, 1 to 30. Now I'm taking on from where he stopped. So the same chapter, verse 31 to 46. I was surprised at the coincidence. In this text of Matthew, Christ gives us the clear obligation to feed the hungry, to give drink to the thirsty, to house the homeless, to clothe the naked, to help the sick, and to comfort those in prison. It is most gratifying that the church has started to heed this very important scripture, that it is not enough to preach the word, but ignore the hunger and nakedness and sickness of the congregation. I welcome Bishop Sheldon Mwesigwa's clear grasp of the duty of every Christian to implement Jesus Christ's clear and unequivocal instructions. The parish church, in the implementation of his command to preach the gospel to all nations, I wish to suggest that the parish Sacco can also be the institution that Christians use to fight poverty and rescue the masses who are desperate for food, clothing, and medicine. The emphasis here is on the Sacco as an institution. This is in contrast to a haphazard, temporary, or experimental operation. Now, I'm going to be a bit harsh here. The idea of institutions is that you have an established, proven mechanism, method for accomplishing something. In the case of money, the bank is a proven mechanism for managing money. So when you say that you're going to put up a committee in the parish to manage 100 million, you are saying that now there's an institution in the parish, in my parish, which I know, which can manage 100 million shillings? You're saying you have no other way, better way of managing that money. Let's ask ourselves. We have attempted so many attempts to manage money, and they have generally failed. So I hope that in this particular case, that we insist on an institutional mechanism for managing taxpayers' money. So you can clap, somebody is trying to clap. An institution that is time-tested, an institution that is regulated, an institution that is monitorable and accountable and transparent, as Bishop said. I believe that any country that is claiming to be developed or developing, you'll find that I've been to China, I have seen they are communist, but they have the biggest banks in the world. The 4 biggest banks in the world are Chinese. Chinese Bank of Agriculture, when we went there in 2007, had 32,000 branches. I said, how do you manage such institutions? Said the computer, digital. An institution, the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines it as a significant practice, relationship, or organization in a society. An established organization or corporation, established. Not experimental, established organization. We want an organized and established means of delivering services to our people. Now that we have a law governing Saccos, there was a time when we introduced the Saccos, we also wrote laws. But when we left the Ministry of Finance, the people who came in went ahead and put the laws, the regulatory laws, in the waste paper basket. How do you tell me to put money in an institution, deposit my money, and there is no law governing? So many Saccos, including in my village, the people stole the money and they failed because there was no law. But now we have a law. Now that we have a law governing Saccos, we are a step closer to achieving Saccos that can operate like banks with the proper regulation and guarantees of the safety of the people's savings. We can transform the national character from one where everybody is for himself or herself and God for us all, to where organized capital formation and management becomes a new instrument for the transformation of our communities. The vision, Lord Bishop, is most timely. It comes at a time when government recognizes the need to come down to the communities and households. The government has not yet realized the overwhelming and absolute necessity of adopting time-tested institutions to accomplish this goal. Why should we resort to haphazard methods of work when we have time-tested methods to manage money and promote enterprises? From America to Europe to China, the bank is the tested mechanism for managing money and for managing capital and credit. Resorting to haphazard and untested means to manage taxpayers' money will result in the ultimate waste of that money, as has happened with previous development programs. However, the church, an can establish its own mechanisms for managing its Sacco members, even before the regulators come into effect, then there is a great opportunity to realize increased accumulation of savings, which is what we call capital. This is how we can use institutional methods to build strong institutions that will be the foundation of our economies for centuries to come. This is institution building. And now let me stretch your vision to greater glory. The Millenium Sacco has the potential, the seed to become a firm and upright pillar that will stand alongside every parish, church, to strengthen the kingdom of God. A kingdom of righteousness and economic justice for the people of God. So, let me say that when God gave me the vision of the parish model in 2001, I woke up at 2 a.m. in the morning. I was Secretary for Economic Affairs in NRM Secretariat. And the President had impressed on us the need to develop an ideology for Uganda. And a friend of mine, Professor Prayerbreakfast, said, come to Connect Covenant College in USA and let's see how we can help you. And I went. And we were looking at all sorts of ideas, capitalism, socialism, what to... And the Lord woke me one morning and said, the parish. I said, but parish? But the vision was so clear and so powerful. And all the other approaches to ideology. I came, I wrote it up, I presented it to my fellow members in Secretariat. They thought it was a good idea. I knew it, I was made Minister of Finance. I presented the President, he was very excited about it. He said, we cannot afford it. So it went on the sidelines. Surprised when in 2018 I heard him saying that the people, as the politicians, are sleeping. For him, it's at the parish and household. This is where everybody, use the word, must go. Studying the book of Genesis. The lesson I learned from the book of Genesis, after the story of Joseph being sold by his brothers. His brothers saying, let's see now what happens to these dreams. The story is that God's purposes cannot be stopped by any man. So I haven't said this, I think, before. I think now that I have this forum, say that model is actually God's model. And so, as Bishop was saying, you shouldn't be shy to close the naked. It's a mandate that Jesus has given us. So alongside the parish church, there be a Saco. It's well organized. And since the government now is helping, as the government has helped with the schools, faith-funded schools have been helped by government, and they are the best schools. King's College, Budo, Chisumi, they are faith institutions, but with the help of government, they are the best. In a similar way, Sacco that is funded by the church can be assisted in some ways by the government and can be an institution in society that is run on moral principles. The Christians are participating as Christians to help themselves and help one another. And there's no contradiction. So I want to echo my Lord Bishop's idea that Sacco as an institution for managing money, and hopefully the church leading in terms of transparency and moral conduct, but supported by regulations. The regulations are now there. I see now an opportunity which has not been there before. And quite frankly, I don't think that anyone will dare to cross the church circle. But if they do, it's okay, we shall be martyrs. We are called upon to be martyrs, if need be. So I support the vision of the Sacco that is managed along Christian principles, using modern digital technology to ensure strict compliance of all member branches and aiming to reach every parish, so that where there is a church, there is also a church Sacco operating as a modern bank. If the Sacco is properly managed, it will accomplish virtually all that a bank does, but with a much lower burden of minimum capital and other stringent requirements. Church circles can be affiliated under one umbrella so that they all follow the same rules of accounting, reporting, credit management, and so on. The church itself should establish the rules for moral conduct and be the leader for all institutions of society. I mean, the church has to lead in moral conduct. That's our work. At the same time, it should work within the law, observing all the regulations required for circles and cooperatives. This is a great challenge, but I believe that the people of God, with His help, with God's help, will be able to achieve this vision and lead the way to a more prosperous society. So, I also am going to join the Sacco, Millenium Sacco. But more importantly, I think I'm going to talk to Uganda NGO to see how we can, as an institution, be a party to the Millennium vision. And I'm excited that actually we can, if already there are 7 branches, we can be 70, 700, and 7,000. Why not? With digital technology, with the church as an umbrella for this operation, I believe that something which was not possible before can now become possible. So I want to really thank you, Bishop Sheridan Mesugwa, for this effort. I think I see the opportunity of a new chapter in the history of Uganda. And I believe that this is something we can fight for, we can stand for. We'll see how anyone will have the moral courage to say that what we are doing is not right, because it is right and it is the will of God that we should do so. I thank you very much. It's my honor. My Lord Bishop says he has a small announcement, so I think I will not invite His High Excellency.
A small slight change. A big hand clap. There is a time I was reading some information somewhere. In the US, Joe Adams would know best, and maybe Anne. Some of these very rich people, what are the names now? These young people are the ones who know the things. The richest man in the world is who? Elon Musk. I read somewhere that you could pay, say, some Chinese great minds, businessmen, they can pay like $10,000 for 20 minutes to sit with Elon Musk. And then you listen and you get his ideas, and then you go after paying $10,000. So you people, how much would you have paid for all these minds you are seeing here? I don't know. Peter, you are so blessed. So very quickly, our time is fast spent. You know, we started late. We're here till 9, but we're late, and it is breakfast. Now it is going to lunch. So, and we have a vice president. Very quickly, we want some few questions, because going without questions is not in order. Also, people may not understand us. Very, very quickly. Comments. It doesn't have to be a question. Please. Quickly. Yes, Professor. Another one. Question or comment. You can be coming, Professor. No problem. Yes. And then Professor Kasozi. I think those can do very quickly, because we need to be moving out from here. Chairman, come here. They might fire us and you have to answer. Madame was not introduced very well, the secretary. She's a former banker, board member. Come. She's a former banker. We have people who are seasoned, sure. The professionalism, Joe Adam, you are talking about. We are glad we have people there. In case they ask a question. In case, Joe Adam, they ask a question which needs you, we shall call you. Or it can find you there, the microphone. Yes, please, go.
Thank you very much, my Lord Bishop. First, to express appreciation to our key speakers this morning, Joe Adams, Professor Suma, and my Lord Bishop, your introductory remarks. I just want to make one comment. Literature is awash with the following facts. Nations which fail and nations which succeed. The difference is that those which succeed create institutions that allow participation of majority of its people, and empowering the key word is empowering, and institutions. Consequently, the Millenium Sacco you have dreamed and set up is one of those institutions that would make a diocese, make any organization durable. What you have done is absolutely on spot. Only two things arising from the remarks. Saccos as a means of enabling your parish or your Christians to access an institution where they can save and where they can access credit. There is no better institution in doing so than this. Only that you have to watch. The key element, you have to watch the operating costs of a Sacco is a do or die. And this remark has been made this morning. Second, an institution where you are serving members and you have professional management. The enduring challenge is the principal and the agent. There is always a problem. Members are principals, professional managers are agents. Very often, the agents become masters of their principal, and that is an inherent problem. That the professionals who manage the bank must know, listening to Adams, that they are not serving customers, they are serving members. That distinction is class. Otherwise, I really want to thank the Vice President for her time, because I know for a Vice President to sit here this much and to be a friend of the Bishop and honoring us with this presence is very inspiring in its own right. We support you, my Lord Bishop. These institutions indeed will serve the poor and will care for the hopeless or helpless. And I wanted Professor Suruma to appreciate two things. The law requires that for a bank to be a bank, you have to have a minimum requirement capital. That's the law. Until the law is changed, you can't just form a bank without that minimum being raised. And the minimum right being proposed is what you have put in your presentation. It is quite high. So for the Sacco to be aiming to be a bank, you should also prepare to meet that minimum requirement. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good enough. Those were comments and very good ones. And I want to appreciate Professor Kamuntu is one of those Titanic, what was the other word? True believers. Yes, thank you so much. And we appreciate. And we want also to acknowledge the presence of Honorable Kari, my MP. Honorable Kari, please. Just acknowledging you and Honorable Itungo. Yeah, thank you, our MPs, for coming. Minimum 10 million, minimum, sure. Minimum. Yes, another one? Professor Kasozi.
Thank you very much, Bishop. First of all, a commendation and then my challenge to the Millenium. Bishop, I would like to commend you because in 2012, you invited me to join you in Ankole Diocese, which I did. Little did I know that I was going to have an opportunity to have some of my small monies deducted into the Sacco. Now, I thank you very much because now my wife loves me more because of the savings there. Yes, she does. Yes, thank you. Now, the challenge is, as you know, I have one leg in Bishop Stewart University.
Yeah.
And also, of course, also with your blessing, I have another leg at UCU.
BSU law is now one of the leading in the country.
Oh, thank you very much. People, you clap for
because
me.
of that man.
Thank you very much. With your blessing, I also serve at UCU. You've been also chairman council. You also know that soon, in about 2 months, UCU is going to their own home. Now, I happen to be in Kampala. This is where I'm based, in the Faculty of Law, and I have some influence there. Now, if only tomorrow the managing director, if he can open a branch at Kampala campus, then the rest is mine. I'll make sure that I recruit members. I'll recruit all the lawyers in the faculty. I'll recruit all people in the main campus. Please think about that. Thank you very much, Chair.
He's one of the true Titanic believers, but he's an exceptional man. He started our Faculty of Law at BSU. He was at, and through him, there is a lot that the Lord God has helped us to achieve. Here, we have also been having Dr. Pamela, Chairman of Law Commission. We have also been having Dr. Kargonjo from also chair of something. Faculty of Law, they have been well represented here. So in Kampala, where is the engineer Mugumya? Is he here? Or he has gone? Hey, Mugumya Moses, you come here, please. This is one of the very reliable people in Mbarara there. One of our property moguls, and through him, hopefully we shall be having an office here in Kampala. Actually, he had already given it to us before COVID, but COVID set in, and I think already 10 million is already on the account, hopefully. Anything you have to say about these people are talking of one office here in Kampala? Will you host us?
Thank you, Bishop. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Moses Mugumya. I come from Bara. I as the bishop is saying, I offered a space, an office, where I have a place at Uganda Road, African Hotpot. Some of you, I think, have gone there for lunch. We have an office upstairs. We've offered their space for our Sacco, and I think it will be sufficient for now. Then as we get, I think, the bigger space.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you. And from there, we shall come to Kampala campus. Dr. Bachibinga, God bless. We've been having Justice Bamugemerira around, I'm told, so I didn't notice her. She should have been acknowledged. But there are so many really high-profile people. Because of time, just one more, a youth, the last one. The youth. Eh? Now we have a problem. There is a youth, really, very young. Let's take the young and then the last one. But very quickly, please. You can't hold.
Thank you very much, my Lord Bishop. I'm very delighted to be amidst amazing people today. And my name is Daphne Mahwera. I work with the Gongo Culture Center in Bar, and I'm also a reverend's daughter, by the way. I have heard of Millenium Sacco for quite some time, but I must be honest, I've always thought maybe it's something that a little bit of aged people would be interested in. To be honest, I'm not going to lie. So I have I've interacted with the Lord Bishop for a while now, and I've always seen him post and talk about it. And I came here today largely because of him, and also because I have seen it several times. And then when I looked in the room, I didn't see so many people of my age. And I'm so glad he talked about it when he said, if you could come to BSU and have all these young people involved. And when our keynote speaker spoke about involving people from childhood, our children, so that they can like follow up this up to tomorrow, because if we are no longer living, our children need to carry this vision on. So I'm really grateful, and I pledge, first of all, I'm going to join today. Yes,
to mobilize.
Thank you. And I pledge to mobilize fellow youth and see how they can actually take this on, embrace it, so that we can go together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Daphne. And be rest assured, we are planning to go to BSU campus. We shall go to other campuses, and also Zoom. This occasion has been live on Family TV. It has been on Revival Radio live in the whole of 22 districts. It has been online also. So the youth, we are going to target them, and it was mentioned in the presentations. The last question, please. Comment.
Thank you very much.
Quickly.
Bishop, I would like to thank His Excellency.
Excellency.
He's sir, because she's a...
She will tell us. Continue.
That's what they are told us. When we are in army, they are all sirs. Your Excellency, you're most welcome. Professor Ezra Suma, you're most welcome. Professor Kamuntu.
Quickly on the point, please.
I'm called Dr. Barije Moses Wamuhe. I'm very happy to be in this function. So grateful, and I thank the person who has invited me. We are going into the same destination, but we are having different routes. I'm very happy, Your Excellency, that now Uganda is now thinking about the economy. It is now a question. Every person is digging, why are we poor? What can we do? This is one of its kind. I'm very happy for Professor Ezra Suma for these good and great ideas and good words of encouragement. And I'm very happy for the Church of Uganda. Once for my life, to see a church thinking about giving people money. Churches collect money. Baptize, bring money. Pray for you, bring money. Bring money. Taking back. It is a distinction to you. And may the good Lord bless you. Country trying to organize families of farmers for the Farmers Bank. It is in the Unary Manifesto. Dr. Ezra Suma, Professor Ezra Suma, I met him once, but sometime back. Then we tried to push on until it is in Manifesto. So, Your Excellency, the war is on. There is somebody who made a statement here, and I was almost standing, said that we are on time bomb of development. It is success. Of success. So we have been climbing, now we are reaching at the top of the mountain, but it wasn't easy. May God bless you, and thank you very much. We are here to stand with you.
Thank you.
The guidance and the assistance is free. May God bless you.
Thank you. That is Dr. Ramahe, and there is Dr. Akulo Grace, Akulo Ruth. They had a lecture, they gave me a lecture and a discussion for about 30, 40 minutes in the car when I was coming. They have PhDs in economics. We are in business. We're in business. They are also with us. So can I take this opportunity? We have survived. No serious questions. You can go and sit. Can I request Honorable Suruma to come and invite the guest of honor? The levels are good there.
Thank you very much, my Lord Bishop. Your Excellency, the Vice President. It's very rare to see someone of your standing and stature spending so much time patiently with us. So I think that this really shows how interested you are in this subject of economic development. It is my honor to have this opportunity to request you to come and address this distinguished audience. Madam Vice President.
Our guest of honor, Professor Suruma, Right Reverend Sheldon Mwesigwa, the Bishop of Ankole, the chairperson of our Sacco, Mr. Mwine, and all the members of the Sacco and also the board members, and the staff who may be present here. I see the retired Archbishop of Kampala. My colleagues, the honorable members of parliament present, my sister, Pamela Mbagazi, the ED of the National Planning Authority. Allow me also to thank the managers of the Sacco, the Millenium Sacco, for inviting me to this business prayer breakfast meeting. I thank you very sincerely. But I must also say that speaking here in matters of business, Millenium Sacco, before very senior economists in our country, like Professor Suruma, Professor Muntu, and many others, it's a very challenging experience, especially for some of us who may not have studied economics at the higher level. But on the other hand, it is a very big opportunity because all of them have spoken and shared their wisdom. And therefore, it has been a very good experience to benefit from their experiences and their track record. There's so many assignments that we have had
within our country and also outside. And before I make my message, I'd like to appreciate them for the so many endeavors that they have made in the transformation process of our country. And I also would like to add that they continue to make those endeavors, and we are here to continue giving you also support as you continue making those endeavors for the sake of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a member of Millenium Sacco. So I have come here as a member of the Millenium Sacco. As a member of the Millenium Sacco, we indeed participated in identifying the guest speakers, including our very important guest speakers from the US who gave a keynote address. We sincerely appreciate you for the message, especially when you advised us that as a Sacco, we must mobilize and recognize all categories of people. But then I have to wait for him and wait. First I have to wait.
So if you wanted to meet Bishop.
Don't want to leave.
we shall have the East African anthem and the national anthem of the Republic of Uganda played.
After which, I suppose the Vice President will be going out and presenting the handover, the gift. Is that so? The key or something. Hey, okay. From here, so we shall organize ourselves outside. But also, they are requesting the organizers, we need a photograph of the speakers and the guest of honor and the Vice President and the wife of the bishop. That's the one. It's me proper. Yeah, otherwise if we miss that, Professor Kasozi told you that the Sacco has helped bring harmony in the home. So let us pray. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you so much for the blessings that you shower upon your children. This has been one of them, and we give glory and honor to you for the success of this business prayer breakfast. Thank you for the speakers. They have given us more than we bargained for. Thank you for the knowledge that you give to your children. Thank you for the expertise. Thank you for the grounding in your word, which has also been very clear. The values of honesty, transparency, we pray that we shall promote those and be able to continue. But we also thank